What's up, everybody? So I'm back doing another video. This one is going to be just a little bit different, in a sense of we're not going to be searching Central Dispatch on this one. I saw a comment posted yesterday, previous comment that I've been going through these comments trying to get to them, where it said talk about do a video on new authority. And I will do a video on new authority, but this one kind of relates to new authority somewhat, in that, there's some things that I think that you need to think about before you even decide to jump into getting a new authority or jump out in the trucking game within itself. Um, I am going to look at a few trailers. I've been looking into the roll-off dumpsters systems. So I'm gonna look at some trailers while I am talking. Hopefully, I can do both at the same time. But one of those things that I really think you need to do before you really even start a new authority or jump in it at all, is decide whether you really want to be in trucking or not. If you look at the YouTube world in general, um, instead of 20 yarder, yes. If you look at the YouTube world in general, YouTube, has, and I shouldn't say YouTube, but YouTubers, has caused a sensation to take place in a lot of industries. Speaking of which, the dumpster industry is one of those. I've jumped in it a little while ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, actually. Looking at some of this stuff, looking at YouTube, getting away from the 9 to 5 and all that type stuff. I jumped into dumpsters before I even got into doing the trucking game. But dumpsters, that's one of the industries that YouTube have made a sensation. And of course, hotshot trucking, you know, is another one of those industries, trucking in general. But hotshot in particular because you can jump into it without having to go to school to get a CDL. So a lot of people are jumping in the industry, and just as quick as they're getting in, a lot of people are jumping out of it as well. And there are some reasons behind it. You're getting in the game without being prepared. So one of the major things that you have to have, or you need to think about before you even get in it, is do you have the mental space to actually be in the trucking, to be in the trucking world? Um, you know, and when I say it is, there's some different things you have to think about in trucking. Man, trucking is a lonely industry. It's not an industry where you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people. It's not an industry where, you're gonna be with your wife every day. You're going to be with your girlfriend every day. It's not an industry where you're going to be with your children every day, unless you're doing local and you're not running over the road. 14 yard. I tell you, man, these dumpster prices, they have skyrocketed from the time that I jumped in it. But you know, do you have the mental space? Can you go out over the road if you're going to be doing long hauls? Can you go out over the road and actually be out there without worrying about having to come home, without worrying about wanting to be in your bed every night, without worrying about your children? Of course, you're going to always worry about your children. You're going to always worry about home. You're going to always worry about wife, girlfriend, and so on and so on. But, can you actually go to the road for a week without having to, deal with problems, deal with situations and stuff that are going on in the home? One of those things in particular that I really, focus in on with the guys, because I've had a few drivers or owner operators. One of the first things that I talk to them about and I tell them about is the first thing you need to make sure you got taken care of before you jump into this is home. Um, and home in particular, when you're talking about girlfriends and wives, when you're talking about relationships. Um, because getting into trucking, man, if your relationship is not on a plus grading, or if it's not where it needs to be, believe me, getting in trucking, whatever problems you have, it's gonna bring them out. If you think that your girlfriend or your wife is cheating, your boyfriend is cheating on you, when you get in trucking, that thing is gonna, it's gonna double, it's gonna triple. If your wife or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your significant other, I should say, if they feel like you're cheating when you get in the trucking world, that thing is gonna triple. They're gonna feel like it even worse once you get in this thing, right? Because being in the trucking, with you being over the road, that provides a lot of time, opportunity, and space to do the things that your significant other may want to do. It also provides the time and space for you to be able to do what you want to do while you're out there. And whether they're doing it or not, whether you're doing it or not, if that thought process is there, that's going to be on the mind. You know, you stay in not Texas, but Tennessee, and you're on a long haul down to Florida, and you're worried about your girl cheating. Your mind is going to be messed up. And I say female in particular, but not, saying that females are the ones that cheat, or saying that males, but, since I'm a male, I'm going to say female for the purposes of this video. So you're out, you're worried about your girlfriend cheating on you, you're down in Florida. Your mind is already gone, man. You're not focused on what you're doing, and so on and so on. And when you're out driving, you need to be focused on what you're doing. You don't need to be having to think about home or think about problems at home, thinking about what's going on. If Jody is over there, got her bent over, doing cartwheels, her legs in the air, feet swinging, and all that type of stuff. You don't need to have to worry about that, not while you're over the road. And of course, she don't need to worry about you having to do that while you're going away from home. Because again, if those are the type of things that you're worried about, your relationship is not going to last long, and your business either. Because it's going to make you want to be home. It's going to make you want to be around her, and so on and so on. But if you got a girlfriend, significant other that you have to watch, or that you got to worry about is going to do something just because you go out of town, you probably don't need to be with that person in the first place. Because one thing I've learned in life, and I've been married before, and that thing didn't go according to plan by no means. You cannot stop a person from cheating on you. It takes a second or two for somebody to pull down their panties, or or pull down their boxers, take their meat out, and put the meat in the blanket and all that good stuff. It only takes a few seconds for that to happen. And once it's happening, you done cheated. Not even, alone thinking about what you might call it emotional cheating, or talking to somebody else on the phone, or anything. So, you can't stop somebody from cheating if that's what they want to do. So if you were the type of person where you got to worry about them cheating, and you not just paranoid, then you don't need to be with that person anyway. Because again, going over the road or trying to be in trucking and having to worry about that at the same time, you're not going to make it. You're going to go downhill real quick, real fast, in a hurry. Me in particular, I didn't have to worry about that. Um, my, I don't want to say my reasoning for wanting to come home, but after I've been over the road for about 2 or 3 weeks, I'm ready to get back home. Not to rush back to a significant other, because my marriage was over in 2018, 2019, I think it was, one of those. Unfortunately, I was not blessed to get a significant other that wanted the traditional type family. I was raised that way to a certain extent, and that's what I wanted, but that's not what she was after. We had different ambitions, we had different goals, and of course, you see all those things before they ever come into fruition, or before they come into play. But when you're in the middle of it, you really don't think about it. You're just trying to make it work. You love the person, you care about them, you really don't see their faults, you don't care what they're doing. you love them and so on and so on. But people from the outside, they can look in that thing and be like, hey, bro, this ain't, no, don't do it. You know what I mean? And then you might get mad. You can't tell me, all that crazy stuff, right? But my reason for coming back home, in particular, was for my children. I have 7 children. I raised my children on my own. So after I've been on the road for an extended period of time, I'm ready to get back home. I'm ready to see my babies. You know, the woman that I chose to marry, all my children are obviously by her. But she wants this party life, and it's fake, in my opinion, because she ain't really built that way. But she wants to have a party life. She's gone through traumas as a child. She never really dealt with those traumas. She hangs around these friends. All of them are younger than she is. They all look up to her. And because of that, it drives her mind. It makes her want that even more. So she enjoys this party life of clubbing, hanging out, drinking and all this kind of stuff. And not to say that there's anything wrong with it. The problem comes in is when you put those things before your children, when you put those things before being a mother, being responsible, doing the things that you're supposed to do. That's when the problem comes into play. Um, so my reason for coming home was again for my children. Um, Having guys over the road and Lord, I'm not even sitting at this computer. Let me get that down to look through these trailers. But having guys over the road, um, you know, I found that with them in particular, man, it's like, they wanted to get back home, not necessarily get to the children, but to get to the wives, to get to the girlfriends. And it was like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't know what they was missing, but some of it was a situation of, hey, there was some infidelities before in their relationship, and they wanted to get home to make sure they weren't doing this, weren't doing that. I remember another driver I sent out over the road. He was in Florida, took a truck to Arkansas. He called me one day. He actually stayed in the same neighborhood that I stay in. He was like, hey, hey man, have you seen my wife's truck at home today? Anybody at my house today? And I was like, yeah, I saw, they had a green truck and a white car, but, there was a green truck up there that was not his. And he was like, okay, that's her dad or whatever of that nature. Right. And mind you, he's going from Florida to Arkansas. We live in Greenville, North Carolina. Um, you know, I take my sons to the gun range that day, come back home, um, and there's a U-Haul in the backyard. So he called me again at some point in time, and he was like, "Hey man, have you seen about it? I keep calling, and nobody want to answer the phone." So I went on. And I was honest with him. I didn't want to tell him there was one there, but I wasn't thinking that there was a problem anyway because before he went out, and I had just hired him and put him on like 2 weeks ahead of before that. So his wife was like, "Yeah, go out, baby, make a lot of money, go out on the road, stay out there, make us some money. You don't even have to come back and all that kind of stuff like that." And that should have been a hint because I talked to him and I talked to her about it before they even went out. I always, have a meeting with him, girlfriend. I want to meet your wife, not because I want to be in a relationship with her or talk to her or been over the pickle barrel while you're gone and all this kind of stuff. No, but I want to have a mutual understanding that the lonely feelings and the lonely life that trucking can provide on both sides, and make sure that there's no problems persisting and all that type stuff. So she was like, "Hey, we're good," and all this kind of stuff. Well, I make a lot of money. So that day in particular, by the time he called me back, there was U-Haul in the backyard, and uh, he called me and said, "Hey man, you seen about it? Are they still up there?" I was like, "Well, yeah, there's a U-Haul in the backyard." And he paused for a second. And excuse my French when I say this, right? If there's some kids, bleep. Right? He was like, "Man, that bitch is leaving me." I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" He was like, "She's leaving me. She's packing everything up and leaving." I was like, "Bro, I thought I talked to you about this before you even went out on the road, right?" And I was like, "Man, he's already got what 2 vehicles on the back at this point in time because he was non-CDL." I'm like, "Dude, just drop the trailer, wherever you are." I think he was on the way to Arkansas or close to Arkansas. Just drop the trailer, come back home. I'll shoot back out there, go drop the load and stay out there, whatever that nature. Come back home and deal with what you got going on, because being over the road while that situation's going on, that's not going to help you because your mind is going to be on it. He was like, no, that B is already leaving me, man. So, I might as well just stay out here and make some money. Right. So I went on, let him stay out there, try to make some money. But, you can tell, it was off. Some of the, things he was doing. He wasn't taking pictures properly. Wasn't getting BOL sound like he's supposed to. And you already know why, because his mind was gone. About time he made it back here, he was short on some money when it came down to the collecting the cash on delivery. Uh, all that type stuff, man. And, that was a whole ordeal we had to deal with there. But, that's just an example. When you go over the road, you got to make sure that things are okay at home. You got to make sure things are okay with the kids. Um, you know, then, again, being in the mental space, you need to make sure that bills are paid. Because the two biggest things in a relationship is communication and finances. When either one of those two things go, that relationship is going downhill unless you correct those problems real fast, real quick, and in a hurry. So all of those things need to make sure that you take care of. Now, if you don't have a significant other, you don't have kids, you're in a great position because when you're over the road, you can just get out there and get it. But even then, you still got to have the right headspace, not to be out there wanting to party, and all that type stuff. You're over the road to make money, you're over the road to grind, you're over the road to get paid. When you come home, that's when you can party, you can hang out, you can have fun, that type thing. So before you even get into the trucking world, to me, that is kind of like the most important things that you got to have in play. I've been trying to sit down at this computer, but I can't do it because when I start talking, I walk and talk. But, I can't actually walk right now because it's raining. But those are some of the things that you got to make sure that you have in play before you even uh, jump out there, before you even get into it, before you even go that route. One of the other major things you got to make sure that you have also is you want to have a little money on hand. You don't want to just jump into the thing and not know what you're doing, not know what you're getting into, because um, you're definitely going to need to have a little nest egg while you, I don't, not a ton, but you're going to need to have some because you never know when things are going to go wrong. You could be on your first load and get out there and get a flat tire the first day. You got to be able to pay for that. You got to be able to pay for food while you're over the road. If you need clothes, you leave home and forget your coat. You got to be able to get you another coat. You get somewhere and you don't have the right equipment. You got to be able to buy the right equipment. So you need some money to hold you over. Um, Not so much until you get paid because there's many in car hauling anyway. It's not car hauling is a little bit different from freight in the pay situation. With freight, you could get your factoring company and get paid quick. The factoring company is going to take a percentage and so on and so on. But in car hauling, you can do a lot of CODs, which is cash on delivery, to get you rolling. As long as you can find those things to kind of hold you over until, you get on with the bigger companies and you're taking, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, or something like that to get paid. When most of your bigger companies, if you're getting paid 30 days, they don't really take anything out. Example is Holly. Holly, I think, takes 6% away from you if you do quick pay. Um, I think United Road, they take five, not United Road, because Holly and United Road is the same thing, but a service, I think they take 5% or 6% if you do 2 day pay. And if you do 10 day pay, I think it's like 3% or something of that nature. So, you know, in car hauling, you can do some CODs and go ahead and get some money while you're out there. But to get started, you're gonna need to be able to fill your truck up. You're gonna be able to need to get DEF fluid. You're gonna, you definitely got to have your equipment, the tools of the job of the trade and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna need a little bit to get started. So if you know you don't have those things and you can't get those things, it's not a smart idea to just jump straight out here into the trucking world, at least until you can get them. So, two of the main things that I think you got to have in play before you even get out here, you got to sit down and think about, is this what you really want to do in the long haul? Because there might be some days that you miss some family time. You might miss some holidays. You might get stuck over the road. I went to Florida one time, man, when I first got started, and because I was new in it, new authority, I couldn't even get loads like I wanted to. I'm seeing loads on the load board, wake up the next morning, and most of them gone. It's like, how in the all these people getting these loads? And I can't get one. I was in Florida and I didn't know no better about going into Florida, man. And I got stuck in Florida, for about a day. Being a novice, not knowing any better. The second day, man, I said, I'm not gonna keep sitting here. I started dead heading back to Georgia area, to try to find me a load out of there. So all those things, you have to be able to consider and you have to be able to think about. What if you go somewhere and it starts snowing and you're stuck and you can't go anywhere because of the road conditions? Or what if you're on the highway and been out there many times and traffic is at a standstill for hours at a time, because a truck is on fire, because somebody didn't do a pre-trip and check their brakes and all this type stuff. I mean, just sitting there, different things like that can happen. If you got to have the mindset to be able to deal with it. What about people that do road rage, where they're stopping in front of you, or they're following you, or they're doing something stupid? You got to have the mental capacity not to fall into that stupidity. So all of these different things you got to have in your mindset. Another thing that's very important: can you sleep in the back of that truck? Or are you going to get a hotel every night? Because you might not be able to go and get a hotel every single night. So you may have to sleep in the back of your truck. Are you going to be comfortable enough to be able to sleep back there? When you wake up in the morning, are you going to have back problems? Is your medical situation where it needs to be? I had a guy go out one time, man, sent him way to Pennsylvania, and he told me that he had to be back the next day for an appointment. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, bruh, why in the world did you go out there? He was like, man, I know, man. It's like, because you're in Pennsylvania, now I got to try to rush to find you something to get back here. Because, when the guys was over the road, if I wasn't out at the time, and even if I was out, then I would jump on the load boards and start trying to find them loads, to make sure that they can operate and make sure that they can keep moving. I also gave them the ability to look up there and find their own loads. um, you know but in that case in particular, I had to help them find one. But all of those things come into play when you're thinking about even just getting out there in the game. So you got to make sure you got the mental headspace for it. You got to make sure it's something that you want to do, because by the time you invest $300 into filling out the application to get your authority, you got to get your, what do you call it, your UCR paperwork. I think that's going to be an additional, I think it's, shucks, I can't even remember. I think it's like $60 or something of that nature, 125 or something. You got to register your LLC before you even get started with that. That's $125 in the state of North Carolina. I'm not sure wherever else. You got to get insurance. You're not going to have that in the initial stages of filing for your application, but you're going to get it within those 21 days that you got to wait for them to send your authority back. You need to figure out how much you're going to have to pay insurance, because you're going to have a down payment, and getting started in the game, they're going to try to charge you over you know, they're going to be able to pick a bear, try to get as much money out of you as you can, unless you go get a agent and have them to establish your insurance. By the time you invest into getting a brand new truck, or even if you got an older truck, making sure that it's roadworthy and fixed and new tires and all this kind of stuff, before you start throwing all that money into it, you need to make sure that your mind is right, your headspace is right. The trailer, before you buy your trailer, again, you need to make sure that you're in a place where this is really what I want to do, because you invest all that money, then you turn around in 6 months and you're trying to sell it all. It makes no sense, because obviously this is not what you wanted to do. So make sure this is what you want to do before you actually jump into it. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you can do it. Make sure it's not going to cause a problem in your relationship. If you've been married or for some years or something of that nature, and jumping out and trucking, that's not what your wife or your significant other wants you to do, then might not be smart to do it. You might have to do something else. There's many avenues in the trucking world. You can become a dispatcher. You can become a broker. Different things of that nature you can do, versus actually being over the road to get in trucking and make money. It's just that you're not over the road actually driving. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, because I know you're probably tired of sitting there looking at that trailer right there, and I'm sorry, man. I wish I could just walk and talk, but I can't really walk and talk right now. It's about 30 minutes to this video. I can't walk and talk right now. It'll give you something else to look at as I'm walking. But the main thing is, man, again, make sure that your mind is right to get into this game. Make sure your health is right. Make sure you got yourself squared away. Make sure you got some money put up to be able to get up out here in case of emergencies. That way, you won't get out here and start dealing with a bunch of problems, because trucking can make or break you. You can start off in trucking doing great, got money saved up, and got good credit rating, and so on and so on. And then by the end of it, 6 months later, you can start thinking, what in the hell happened? How did my life get turned upside down? So don't just jump out here thinking it's going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be easy. We're just going to run straight through this thing. We about to go run this thing up, make all this paper, make all this money. It don't work that way. Anything that you want in life is worth working for. And anything that's really worth it, it don't really just come easy like that. It don't just fall into your lap. You got to make it happen. So, just make sure, again, your mental headspace is there. Make sure you talk it over with your family. Make sure you talk it over with your kids. My situation with my kids, my mom was helping to keep my children, because I try to make sure I take care of my mom and look out for my mom, especially as she gets older. So she was able to step in there. And of course, I've had to send threats to the children many times. I'm going to tear your hind part up when I walk in that house, to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. Not that I beat my kids, and not that I won't, because if they do something they ain't got no business doing, I'll tear their ass up right now, if I have to. But in many aspects, with a father, father provides discipline in the home in many cases. Mamas, y'all might have to scream and holler. Papa ain't got to do all that. All I got to do is yell, hey, I've been at the park many times with my children, and they about to do something they ain't got no business doing, and I yell out, hey, something like that right there, and everybody in the park stops, and everybody's looking, and all the kids looking like, oh, is that my daddy? Is he talking to me? Nope, not my daddy. He's talking to that one over there. Okay. All right, back to what I was doing. And then my kid sees me immediately and is like, oh snap, that ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? So, with dad, all I got to do is look at them. They straighten right up, get in line. And that's not because I got fear in them. It's not because, I got to beat them to death, but it's an innate response. It's within you. That is that way. Kids like to play with mama because mama seems to be as soft and sweet, and daddy don't think of it that way. Just like if a kid, although I'm on a tangent, give me a second, I'm gonna get back to what I was talking about. Kid falls off a bicycle, mama's gonna say, oh baby, are you okay? And he's gonna start, ooh. But daddy's gonna be like, boy, get your hind part up, you be alright, ain't nothing wrong with you. And they jump right back on that bicycle and take right off like ain't nothing in the world happened. So those are the differences there. But so in my case, my mom, she took care of my kids while I was over the road. It afforded me the opportunity to be out there, to make some money, to get out there, to get some experiences and all that kind of stuff like that. Also afforded me the opportunity, to look out for her as much as I could. So you got to have that. in place too. So you make sure it's okay with your significant other, make sure it's okay with your kids. If you got a elderly mom and she's sickly, and you are the caretaker, you might not be able to go over the road. You might not be able to do that portion of trucking. You might have to get into the dispatching and the brokerage side of it or something of that nature. So all of these things and all of those factors, and there's many other things that come into play that you need to think about before you even start investing money into it, because you don't want to invest money into it and not actually be able to do it. So, just something to think about, something to have on the mind before you get into it. And on the next one, I think I'll start, which is probably going to be in probably about 30 minutes. I'm going to take me a break real quick, get me something to drink, and then make another video. I'm trying to keep these videos going, man, because I'm trying to stay on top of it. Because I've been going from it for about 2-3 months, and I should be ashamed of myself. So I'm going to do better, and I am doing better. So, keep those things in mind. Think about them. Consider those things before you jump out here. Don't let, just because you're looking at YouTube and everybody has it up there that everything is all sweet pieces of roses and cake and things are smelling good, that, hey, I can just jump out there and I ain't going to have no problems and I'm about to make $1 million in my first year and so on and so on. Not happening. Not to rain on your parade or piss in your cornflakes, but you're not making $1 million in your first year. It's not happening. Don't even get that in your mind. You probably, will break even, or, you might do a little bit better than that, so on and so on. But in your first year, it's a learning phase. Yes, you're trying to get into the game. You know, so you don't get out here and think that it's going to be a piece of cake and we're going to just fly straight through it. Because too many things take place, too many things can happen. That is not said to scare you from getting out here, because if you want to be out here, jump out here. It's videos like this that you can learn from. It's other videos on YouTube, a ton of them that you can learn from. But some people don't actually put the horrors or the bad things that can happen, or the situations that come out here. They might put up there, hey, I made 20,000 in a month. You know what I'm saying? It might put that up there. I've been in that situation where I made about 25 in a month. But at the same time, you got expenses coming out there. You got diesel that has to come out. You got death fluid, they got to come out. You're out there, you're eating any kind of equipment that you have to buy out there. You get pulled into a weight station and one of them lights out, you got to go buy that. A tire bust or a tire too low, you got to get that fixed. There's different things that can take place. So they'll tell you I made 20,000 in a month, but they don't tell you all the expenses that took place between truck payment, insurance, and so on and so on. Now, some of them are good at doing it, but some of them don't. Some of them just paint it as, ooh, this is easy. This is a piece of cake. Come on out here. There's some realities out here as well. So, just have that in mind. Think about it. Don't let it discourage you. Just realize that, hey, this is a business, and, that's another thing too. You got to be business minded. If you're not business minded, man, you're going to have a hard time out here. You got to be able to keep up with receipts. You can't just go to the store, pump some diesel, and then throw your receipt in the trash. Not gonna work. You got to account for that at the end of the year. Otherwise, you're gonna get bent over the pickle barrel. Uncle Sam gonna have a field day with you. So all that kind of stuff. It comes into play. But we'll get into a little bit more detail about that in some of the videos that are coming up, as far as tracking expenses, as far as filling out the application for your authority, what you should put on the application. What you do once you get your authority, your insurance, and all that kind of stuff. We'll make some videos on that, or either have some discussions on the Discord. Again, download Discord. Go to discord.com, create you an account. My Discord name is Car Hauling Joe. You'll be able to actually search that up there and add me on Discord. And what I'm trying to do is just create a community right there on Discord for the car hauling industry. And even if you do freight, jump in there, because there might be some things that folks want to know about freight. Or particularly if you have a car hauler and it can haul freight as well. It's a flatbed that I think it's over the over the wheel, those fenders, where it's, flatbed where it can haul freight, but it's a little low profile trailer where you can load cars up there as well. Because I've been out there with one of those trailers too, doing freight and doing vehicles. In my opinion, those are some of the best trailers to get, because, you're not limited to freight, you're not limited to vehicles, you can do both. Um, so that's something to think about, something to consider. But join the Discord, because we are able to do live chats through text or through voice on Discord. Also, if you have any questions, you want to request some type of video or something of that nature, you can reach me on the email also, carlhollandjoe@gmail.com. So, another video. I'm out. I'm about to get me something to drink. I'll come back in about 30 minutes to an hour. You might see me playing my PC game on the next one. I don't know. I get into the PC game. If you got a PlayStation 5, we don't do Xbox right here for you Xbox fans. We do PlayStation 5s and PC right here, but Xbox is pretty much PC. But, All right. Let me start rambling. I'm out. Catch y'all later.